Check out part 1 where I talk more about the moral philosophy behind the Fallout show. In this video, I want to break down my biggest problem with modern Fallout and a lot of modern media today too, and how it directly ties into the messaging within the Fallout show. As I said in the first video, despite working extremely hard on these videos, I barely make any money off of them. In fact, these two videos won't make any money at all because I don't have 1,000 subs yet. If you believe in what I'm trying to argue by the end of this video, then please consider subscribing because I try my best to genuinely care when it's profitable not to. As a Fallout fan who grew up with Fallout 3 in New Vegas and eventually explored the lore of Fallout 1, 2, and Tactics, and maybe Brotherhood, we don't really talk about that, something felt off about Bethesda's Fallout 4. It seemed that with New Vegas, Obsidian took the great elements Bethesda worked so hard to make and inserted missing elements from the older games that made the entire cohesive experience far more valuable. Let's not get it twisted, Bethesda created a great engine that took this janky orthographic gameplay and converted it into real-time combat, still preserving many aspects that made the original special, such as VATS. Please, please, please do not take for granted all the things that Fallout 3 preserved about Fallout. New Vegas took that and added to it, providing it far more complexity in a narrative and role-playing sense, but the foundation of it was Bethesda. The main plotline with New Vegas was far more interesting and didn't just retread Fallout ideas again. Most of the quests, encounters, and factions allowed the player to genuinely have an effect on the world. It gave the player the chance to question philosophies and morals, to make tough decisions that actually mattered. On top of that, it gave us more perks, more weapons, more customization, and just more variety and fun in general. Controversially, when Fallout 4 came around, it seemed as if Bethesda was unwilling to investigate certain additions Fallout New Vegas made, instead opting to think more about Fallout 3 as a basis for design. Fallout 4 was not interested in the thematic elements of the previous game, but instead focused more effort on the world design and gameplay. The narrative was condensed down into a 4-option dialogue system to speed up quests. The gameplay loop was specifically not created around a narrative experience, but rather a resource management first-person shooter experience. The quests became more of a way to unlock that gameplay loop rather than being valuable in of itself. The roles reversed. Of course, the player was given more freedom to choose factions compared to Fallout 3, but it seemed that the writers kind of misunderstood the complexity of aligning with a group and how that process occurs naturally. Now, I'm not going to tell you that Fallout 4 isn't fun and that the action mechanics are a huge improvement over the previous games, but that's all it is, isn't it? It's just fun, when it could be more than just fun. That's my main issue with Bethesda's take on Fallout. It's not that it's not the East Coast, or that the lore is inconsistent here, or that the gameplay isn't turn-based. It's that they are forgetting a core element of what makes Fallout unique in the first place. Fallout isn't just an aesthetic backdrop, it's a narrative experience which gives those fun moments an added punch, because those aren't just fun moments, they are fun and actually matter as well. Substance is what I'm talking about here. And I know that word can likely be used in fairly incorrect ways, and I'm condensing multiple things into one word. I also know it would be annoying for someone to demand substance of a series that doesn't really need that element. Like, I don't know, let's consider Mario for example. Mario doesn't have substance, it doesn't need to. The charm of Mario is its otherworldliness in nearly every way, so adding deep characters and themes is just kind of ridiculous. But conversely, substance really does matter to Fallout, as well as in a lot of other entertainment too, and the Fallout show agrees with me. Vault-Tec is the thesis of what it means to be an artificial, fake, inhuman company. It's obviously a bit exaggerated, but you can find plenty of comparisons to past and present corporations in our world. Yes, it is satirical, but it's not just a joke. If you genuinely believe that satire in of itself invalidates the thematic resonance of something, you gotta wake up. I mean, have you heard of the people who are die-hard Star Trek fans but in real life are staunchly against anything even remotely resembling socialism? Stories do actually matter in a real-world sense. They are not absolutely 100% apolitical, and it's not your place to demand that they should be. Just because Blade Runner takes place in an alternate future that looks very different to ours doesn't mean it isn't thematically about fascism and racism. Just because WALL-E is a kids' movie set in space doesn't mean it's not about corporations speeding up climate change and destroying the Earth. Just because the Batman is about this guy who dresses up like a bat doesn't mean it's not about how the rich and powerful have failed a drowning population forced to hurt each other, about how a man views his own trauma as a justification for violent retribution. Lots of people recently love to repeat the line, "Stop making blank political," but not only is this limiting media expression and societal progress, but usually what it really means is stop making blank about politics I don't agree with. Fallout is deeply political, and I think most people would agree. It kind of defines New Vegas especially. But would a lot of people say the same about Fallout 4? In the Fallout show, the pre-war world is specifically shown through the lens of a privileged actor who lives in the Hollywood Hills with his wife, who is rising in the ranks of one of the most powerful companies in America. The debate about the validity of Vault-Tec's mission is consistently questioned. Cooper was in a Western show. He played a sheriff character. He becomes a literal gunslinger after the bombs fall. This character is so obviously coded as a Wild West freedom lover, but in the modern age. He looks at America, a nation supposedly built on democracy and freedom, yet is confused by its alignment with corporations who feel more and more strict and controlling. Cooper as an actor is being forced to change his character in his own show to fit the marketing of the corporation. His co-workers are being fired, called communists simply for standing up against their control. His wife Barb effectively manipulates him into becoming a Vault-Tec propaganda icon, someone who reads off a delicately crafted script, yet none of it Cooper actually believes himself. Despite Vault-Tec being portrayed as a patriotic symbol in American media, it seemingly reflects nothing but the superficial. As a Vault Dweller, you are given a fake life. In Vault 33 specifically, your living quarters have fake windows showing a fake ground and sky. The atrium has projectors that will project a fake backdrop of cornfields. There are wooden benches and chairs, even umbrellas as if it were in the open air. You eat processed garbage based on corporate recipes, corporations that don't even exist anymore. Your career is seemingly chosen for you at a young age. Marriage is extremely important and is encouraged to the point of being forced. From the time you are born to the end of your life, there is a tightly knit society that explains to you how the world works, what values are right, and what you should want in life. If you somehow are able to break away from this indoctrination and question certain assumed ideas, you will be told that you are taking things too seriously and that it's not that deep. You are told that this is a safe place and protecting it is the main priority, even at the detriment of your own feelings. Now, if any of it sounds relatable or identifiable in your real life, then awesome. Using media literacy, we have made a connection between Vault life and modern life. Boy, I wonder how they got these ideas in the first place. It makes you think. They must have inspired it from something, surely. People need to think deeper about their situation, about the ideas they believe in, and where those ideas even come from in the first place. About if they are truly free or if they are just told they are. Shows and other media like this have a way of showing us different perspectives that just make us think a little bit. Everything is political. Everything matters. One part of the show I did not talk about in my last video was the plot twist that this show introduced to the Fallout canon. A twist that I think makes perfect sense. Unfortunately, the scene in which this twist was revealed had probably the weakest writing in the entirety of the show. It felt as though the plot outline and themes were all there and perfectly set up, but the details and motivations were just so rushed. It felt like the first draft. Of course, I am talking about the Vault-Tec conference sequence in episode 8, where it is revealed that Vault-Tec had a huge role in why the Great War started, or at least they were intending on dropping the first nuke. Vault-Tec needed to ensure that their product went into use, so they lobbied the government, pulled strings to go against everyone's interests. Now, by itself, this is a great, ironic twist that I think definitely should be canon. My main issue has to do with the dialogue. Barb Howard and the other corporations have the dialogue of generic Marvel villains, where it's hard to believe that they themselves would believe their own words. Capitalist CEOs like Robco's Robert House are pretty evil, don't get me wrong, but they do have reasons for their decisions, or at least they make up good ones for others to believe. The CEOs talk about annihilating the competition by causing the war, but this makes literally no sense. At least they don't really explain it. Yes, capitalist firms hate competition and will gladly become a monopoly if given the chance. But capitalism is built on the backs of losers. It requires there to be a working class. If you just annihilate the working class, your power doesn't really mean anything anymore, does it? I would understand more if this was like some kind of moral philosophy, if these people believe that they had a better way of governing the world, but they don't. It's literally just for monetary or selfish purposes. In contrast to most of the show, I would say that this scene lacks a lot of substance. A lot of what this show is about is uncovering truths, whether that be who dropped the nukes first, what happened to Shady Sands, what is Vault 4's level 12, what is Hank McClane's connection to Moldaver, what is the artifact everyone wants so badly, and what is going on in Vault 33, 32, and 31. In the games, we are tasked with investigating these things ourselves and gathering enough information to get a reasonable answer. Sometimes we have to make a choice considering that answer, choices that aren't always easy. The media, the game, the show is requesting our opinion, our view on life, our politics in order to experience it. It's asking us to pretend that it is real for a moment. That's substance. If your reaction to those concerned about the lack of substance in a lot of modern films, shows, and games is that entertainment shouldn't be political or that they're just taking things too seriously, I really want you to look inward and consider why you enjoyed a show like Fallout. Why did you care about and empathize with Norm in Vault 33, feeling the pressure that something was just slightly off, that it would be right to investigate the truth? Because if that story resonates with you, a story about uncovering the truth, why not question the entertainment we consume on a daily basis? Why not question things that have been normalized to you? Why not investigate the truth? Because sitting idly by and allowing the spread of the artificial and the substanceless sounds a lot like the life of a vault dweller. Don't be a vault dweller.